This is the Jets Draft Report, presented by Nico Lock Paving Stones. All right, we're exactly 2 weeks away from the NFL Draft, and our Jets beat writer for the Post, Brian Costello, has released his Jets Mock Draft 2.0. Kaz, thanks for jumping on. Doing these via Zoom are a lot better than doing them like if you were out in Green Bay or something, and we had to do this mock draft. Let's get straight into this thing because you've switched things up in this one. Before I put you on the clock, what's different from your 2.0 than your 1.0, and what's like your method or I guess reasoning behind the picks?
Yeah, Brian, look, we do four of these before the draft, the 7 round mocks, and I like to just try different stuff, right? Like it'd be pretty boring if I picked Armand Membu every time we did a mock
Okay.
draft every. So I try to go through like different scenarios and what the Jets could do. My last one is the one I really like, sort of my predictive one, where I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do. This one, I decided to do a lot of trade backs. Like I always hear from Jets fans, they should trade back. They should trade back every year. That they should trade back. I feel like that's a very popular thing for fans to say. It's not easy to do because there has to be a player that somebody wants to trade up for to do it, and you have to get the package. So look, I use the Pro Football Network draft simulator, and they spit out a bunch of trades at you before you make your pick. And I went through it, and I found ones that I liked and accepted it. So I thought this one I'd try to accumulate a lot of picks, and I think that could be something Darren Muji wants to do. I don't think this is a 1 year turnaround for Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji. I think they've got to probably target 2026 is the year they're going to make a move. So uh, I tried to get some picks in 2026, not just this year for the regime, and they have stuff to work with if they want to move up next year and move around. So that was kind of the idea of this one.
All right, keeping the people on their toes, and you're keeping it spicy for us. Absolutely love it. So let's get straight into the draft now. Round one, pick 7. Your previous pick was Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. In your 2.0, you have the Jets taking who or doing what with this pick?
Yeah, I made a trade with the Packers. They I actually had a few different offers from teams, but I like the Packers. Packers it was a lot of picks. So given the Packers number 7, and I get back they're 23, so I move back to 23. I get a second round pick from them this year, a third round pick from this year, a fourth round pick this year, and a second round pick in 2026. So to me, it's the pick swap in the first round, and then you're getting a second, third, fourth, and a second in 26. That to me was great value. I realize you're dropping out, you're dropping into the 20s, but again, I'm not, I'm this is kind of a long view of the rebuild, and I still think you can get good players in the 20s, and accumulating those picks would help the Jets not just this year but next year.
Last year, they passed up on Brock Bowers. We saw him be the offensive rookie of the year. There's a chance in this draft that Tyler Warren could be there, sitting there at 7. Would you still want to trade that pick back if Tyler Warren was there at 7?
Yeah, I think he was there in the simulation. I'm
Ooh,
pretty sure, Brandon. I don't remember exactly all the.
okay.
I think the two tackles were gone in this simulation, so that kind of factored into. I do think tackle to me is becoming more of a priority to me than the tight end and Tyler Warren. I do think that's the way I would lean for the Jets. If Will Campbell or Armand Membu are there at 7, and it's them versus Warren, I'm going tackle. I just think it's always smart to build through the offensive line,
Okay.
and Jets have 4 spots pretty solidified, but they need that right tackle. So to me, those were the guys I'm looking at number 7 over Warren.
All right, you've traded back to 23. You're on the clock now, sir. Who do you have the Jets taking, or who did you take at 23?
Ano- Another trade, Brandon. The Jets fans are going to be getting mad. They're going to have to stay up late for this pick. So this one I traded to the Chargers. I only moved back 3 picks here. I gave the Chargers the 23 and also a fifth round pick, pick number 145. And for the Chargers gave me pick 26, and I got another second round pick in 2026. So now I've got 2 second round picks in 2026 in addition to the Jets' own 2026 second round pick.
All right, so at 26, you trade back those 3 spots. Not going to take long for you to get back up on the podium. Who do you have the
Yeah.
Jets grabbing at 26?
I took Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. I, I as much as I talk about the offensive line, the Jets need some help on the defensive line as well. Quinn Williams is there, but they need somebody to pair with him. The run defense was terrible last year. They need to fix that. Nolan is a really athletic three technique who I think, could play right away and be a nice piece in the middle for Aaron Glenn's defense.
All right, so the Jets get even more athletic on the defensive line, and they land a guy who can make a lot of plays opposite of Quinnen Williams. We'll move on to the second round. They have the 42nd and 54th pick from your trade with Green Bay. Your first mock draft, you took quarterback Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Now that you have two picks in the second round, who are you grabbing at 42 and 54?
Yeah, here's what I struggle with sometimes in these simulations, Brandon. Like Dart was still there again. I don't think there's any way Jackson Dart is going to be at number 42 from everything you're hearing. Like it sounds like he
Yeah.
could go in the first round or earlier in the second round. So I just kind of ignored him in this one. I just think the simulator's a little off. So I took Trey Harris, his teammate, another Ole Miss guy, second Ole Miss guy, wide receiver from Ole Miss. They, the news just came down today that Alan Lazard reworked his contract, so Alan Lazard could be here. But they really have Alan Lazard, Josh Reynolds, Xavier Gibson, and not much else at receiver after Garrett Wilson. I still think they need to address receiver. So Trey Harris had a good production at Ole Miss last year. Give Justin Fields another weapon. So that was the way I went at that pick.
All right, you go receiver for that weapon instead of tight end. Round three, you had and at 54, who
One
do
more
you
round
have?
two. Yep.
54.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I'll try it. Ariante Ursary is the tackle from Minnesota.
Okay.
I hope I didn't butcher that. Like I said, they need a tackle. Now, round two, pick 54, you're hoping he's going to be a starter. But it's not a certain thing. As obviously number seven, you're looking for more certainty. But I think with what we did in the first round and trading back, this is a good spot to get the tackle. Like I said before, the Jets have pretty good players at four positions on the offensive line. With Fashanu last year, they got Simpson and Vera Tucker at guard and Tippmann at center. Can Ursary come in and be that right tackle and help protect Justin Fields?
All right, shoring up that offensive line because Aaron Rodgers was sacked 40 times last
Yeah,
season.
and Fields, like if you look at Fields' problems, Brandon, it's been a lot of sacks.
Okay.
He's taking some of it's on him. He takes a lot of sacks,
Okay.
but it also would help to protect him a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have playmakers on the outside if you don't have time to get them the rock and to be able to set your feet and get them the rock the way that in a catchable position. We move on to the third round. You had Emory Jones, a tackle out of LSU, going to the Jets 73rd overall in your first mock draft. Now you've got two picks in the third because of that Green Bay trade. Who are you taking at 73 and 87?
Yep, 73. I'm moving again. Trade. I'm putting on my trader hat again. The Commanders. I'm giving the 73rd pick and 207th, which is a sixth round pick, to the Commanders. And I get back. I get a fourth rounder this year, which is 128, and then I get three picks next year, Brandon. A
Okay.
third round, a fifth round, a sixth round. This just will give Darren Muji some picks, some ammo next year if he wants to move up the board. I could see them being in a position next year where they want to move up. And who knows, they might need a quarterback, Brandon. So I'm trying to get stockpile these picks for him in 2026. Remember, they lost their third round pick in the trade for the pass rusher Hassan Reddick last year, which didn't work out, but that pick is in 2026. So I get that back. I get a third, a fifth, and a sixth. Then at 87 with the Packers, we talked about tight end. I take tight end from Miami, Elijah Arroyo.
Yeah.
Right. If we're going to pass on Warren, there's a hole at tight end on this team. So you're rolling the dice in round three guys. Generally, you don't know if they're going to be a starter right away. They might play special teams at first and work their way in, but I'm going to take a shot here. What I've read about Arroyo, he can do both receiving and blocking. Gives him a shot. But right now, they have Jeremy Rucker and they have Stone Smart at tight end, so they need some help there.
When I was watching and breaking down Cam Ward's film, you see
Right.
Arroyo. He just flashes on tape, guys. Like, yeah, if you pass up on Tyler Warren, I don't think this kid is that far off in terms of being able to play make and catch and run routes. But that kid, if you can get him in that third round, that'll definitely be a steal. Moving on to round four, you've got three picks in the fourth round. What are you doing or who are you grabbing at 110, 124, and 128?
Sure. Yep. 110, I'm taking Will Howard, quarterback, Ohio State. Look, no one's thinking he's going to come in here and compete for the job or anything like that. He's a fourth round pick, but The Jets have Fields. I think they're committed to Justin Fields, Brandon. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback really early to compete with him. I think it's Fields' job for now. I do think they need to get a developmental quarterback behind Fields and Tyrod Taylor. Will Howard could be that guy. At number four, he led Ohio State to a national championship, did some really good things. He's a big guy, accurate passer. Like roll the dice on him. Then at 124, which I got from the Packers, I'm taking safety Jalen Reed from Penn State.
Mm.
Another position. Jets have Andre Cisco, Tony Adams right there right now, but they could use some depth. They could. This is with an eye towards 2026. Those guys aren't going to be the starters in 2026, so get him in here. Maybe he can play right away, or he sits for a year. Then 128, I'm taking a Rondé Gadsden, the tight end from Syracuse, another tight end. I think I'm just going to throw some volume at the tight end room, Brandon. They don't have a lot of depth there. I think Zach Kuntz is probably going to be fighting for a roster spot with a new regime here. So maybe Gadsden could come in and find a spot on the roster and play some special teams for them.
Yeah, I love that Gadsden pick as well. When you watch the tape of Cal McCord at Syracuse, he just threw the ball up to him. He went up and grabbed it, especially in the red zone. So you have the Jets taking two really good tight ends at a good value. But moving on to the fifth round, you had two picks in the fifth, but you traded away 145 to the Chargers. So with the
Yep.
162nd pick in the fifth, who are you taking?
Q Robinson, the edge rusher from Alabama, athletic guy, played for the Crimson Tide. Let's at this point in the draft, you're rolling the dice, taking a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Jets have Will McDonald. They have Jermaine Johnson. They need some depth at that position. They need some rotational guys. Maybe he could be, a guy that comes in for some third downs as a rookie and then develops later on. But I see athleticism, and I also think in special teams at this part of the draft, and maybe he could contribute on special teams.
Love athletic guys coming off the edge. Now, the final round, the Jets have one pick in the sixth
Yep.
round because you traded away the 207th pick to Washington. So, with the 186th pick of the draft, the Jets select who?
Rutgers running back Kyle Monangai, like I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm
Manungai.
gonna butcher it. Monangai. Yeah, yeah, so he, a local guy. Obviously, been great for Rutgers for the last 2 years. He's done a lot locally. Jets don't need a running back, Brandon. They've got Brees Hall. They drafted Braylon Allen. They drafted Isaiah Davis. But I just kind of again like this part of the draft. I'm just looking what's there. Get some talented football players in the building. That's what the Jets need. And so I decided to go with the local product there.
All right, final thought for his cause and tease your mock draft 3.0.
Who knows? Maybe I'll trade up next week, Brandon. I don't know. Maybe I'll just trade all the picks, go Mike Ditka, New Orleans Saints style, and trade up and get Cam Ward or
Oh,
something like
there you
that.
go.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel next Wednesday when I sit down to do it. But try to. I think as the draft gets closer, things get a little clearer. You start to hear a little bit more. So I'll make some adjustments in mock draft 3.0 and 4.0. But I think the trades are fun, and it'd be interesting if Darren Muji took a approach like this to trade back and get some picks.
If you trade up and take Cam Ward, then Justin Fields is going to be forced to answer rhetorical or hypothetical questions then.
Yes.
Kaz, appreciate you hopping on with us. We'll be on the lookout for mock draft 3.0.